Hello, everybody, and welcome to round two of the SRL Italian Formula 3 Championship here in Tuscany. After the drama and the chaos of the opening two races at Monza, we have a lot to live up to here today. But fear not, for the track feature today is one of the most beloved in the world and certainly in this country. It's Mugello. It was built in 1974, 5.3 kilometers long, set in a picturesque valley, providing drivers with undulating, challenging, and some of the best corners around, as well as featuring the longest straight of the season. I tipped this to be the best race of the season in my season predictions, and nothing has changed in my mind since. My name is James Smith on commentary today. Alongside me in the box for his inaugural outing for SRL and also on the cameras, it's Christian McCasey. How are you, Christian?
I am surviving. Excited to see how this race goes. Mugello produced some interesting action in F1, and, well, everything's even more exciting when it's virtual, just because people have no physical fear. So I'm interested to see how this works
exactly. Of course, two red flags in that F1 race. First time we've had two red flags in a long, long time in Formula 1. 15 corners on this track. 9 to the right, 6 to the left. Of course, the pick of the bunch has to be that kind of sweeper complex. It's turn 6 all the way down to like 9 and 10. This lovely sweeper complex is very fast, taken in 5th gear, and we're going to see a lot of mistakes happen there. We are currently in the qualifying session, the 10-minute qualifying session that has got underway. 7 minutes, 40 seconds left, and we're riding aboard here with Ernest Lappins, who took victory in the sprint race last time out at Monza. He was in a great position from the start after a bad feature race, and he took full advantage of that and got maximum points for the win, but he's gone for a spin here at one of Mugello's many difficult corners. But it's going to be tough for drivers to get their laps right here, because it is a very tough track, especially to be consistent on. So whoever can get these early laps in is certainly going to be in the driving seat for the remainder of the qualifying session.
Yeah, these are some very big, high commitment corners around Mugello.
Yeah, and not many cars in the pits, only 3 cars on pit road. Of course, Spirichev, Mazumda, and Naibo are the only ones yet to leave their garages. So we're looking at Victor Ivanov here. He's driving for Mugello Grand Prix, who are currently leading the Constructors' Championship, but he hasn't really tipped himself for much glory this season, as you said in an interview with Tom Dillon the last week out. But I still think he's in with a good shout here. He's shown good pace in practice, and he's been quick. He's been quick everywhere he's gone, so I think he's in with a shout for the race win. If it certainly help himself if he qualifies better. Of course, we use a 2-race format, a 25-minute feature race, and then we take how many classified finishers there were. We divide it by 2, and then those positions are reversed, and the sprint race, 15 minutes long. No mandatory pit stops in either race are necessary, but of course, if you lose your front wing, I would suggest that you head for pit road.
Yeah, I don't think F3 cars tend to work very well without front wings.
Yeah, I don't think any car really works well without front wings. Maybe Formula E cars, because those things don't have much downforce at all. But yeah, a few more notes from the last race. Of course, I already mentioned Ernest Lappins won the sprint race. It was Jan Wozniacki who won the feature race, clawed his way back up to 8th place in the sprint. So he leads the championship on 29 points for AFP. And Ernest's win for Ozone was their first since Canada Season 1. And also in an interview, Alex Hallows, the team owner, said that he was surprised at the fact that they were able to get a victory from that race. He was surprised he even got a podium out of it. And one of the unluckiest teams that race was Santon Motorsports. Alexei Spirichev ran out of fuel on the final lap running in P2, and Jake Dennehan lost a potential podium after a collision with Jesper Eriksson. So watch out for them, but they are without Diogo Moscato, who fractured his foot in the build-up to this race, so he's not going to be able to take part, of course. And also watch out for Violet. Tip for good things, and they did not disappoint. They line up well in the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship, but they are without Omari Watson for this race, so they will need Damien and Wesley to step it up a couple of gears for today's race at Mugello. We are halfway around this qualifying session, and we can't really have, as I said, his name, Damien Scorer1 for Valle is on current pole position by a monstrous half a second over Van der Neer, which just shows how difficult it is to get a good lap in here at Mugello.
Yeah. This will be... It's very fortunate. Of course, they're doing private qualifying. Really don't have to worry too much about traffic getting in your way, aero push, or any of that. You just can get on with it yourself. But it's still a difficult track to come to grips with. And I don't believe the track's rubbered in either. That's another big concern for any of them. So Albert Blanc does pretty well for himself in the privateer car, I would say.
Yeah, decent lap time. We've had the pre-qualifying session already, of course. We reduced 43 entries down to just 30 for this race. And I believe all but one person has made it into the service. So we have 29 drivers currently partaking, and hopefully we can get that last one elusive driver into the session. But we're riding on board here with Danny van der Neijt for Netrex Grand Prix. He was purple in the first sector and a personal best in sector 2. So if he can chain this last sector up, he might well be on for a pole lap. Now, a lot of drivers do have penalties coming into this race, and I will get to the bottom of those first. But for now, let's focus on Danny van der Neijt, who's coming up to finish his lap time right now along this massive start-finish straight, the longest of the season. And van der Neijt, he stays second, but he's gone down to third, actually, because Wesley Burko in the Vale has improved and gone to within a tenth of his teammates. So it's a Vale front-row lockout as it stands. I'm sure Massi Riboli is very pleased about that, although he's driving, so he probably can't pay too much attention to the fact that his two drivers are 1-2. And here's looking at Damien Scorron, purple in Sector 1 again. So it seems Sector 1 seems to be the area for most improvement, but down in Sector 2. And as he goes through that flat-out chicane and now into the last corner, such a technical corner, and it's downhill as well. Takes a rather tight line, but never going too close to that curb. Opens the steering up, lets the car go wide. And now it's a drag race to the line. Alexei Spirichev jumps up to fourth place for the Santon, a massive 0.6 off. We're looking at Damien Scorron, though, and he does improve. He goes even faster. A fastest Sector 3 from him, and he's extended his lead by Wesley. He's doubled it. It's now almost 0.2 of a second from under a tenth. And here's Jake Dennehan, again, another purple Sector 1 for that Santon driver. Lost a podium last time out at Monza in the sprint race, having been involved in an incident with Jesper Eriksson and actually receiving a big penalty for it. And here he comes through the last corner in the Santon, opens the steering, lets the car go wide, and it's now the drag race to the line as Prosciutto goes fourth, Lizio goes fifth. Where is Jake Dennehan going to put his Santon? On pole! It's pole position as it stands for Jake Dennehan and Santon Motorsports, and that has really come out of nowhere. What a lap!
Yeah.
But he's only done it by 1/100th of a second, and with only 1 minute 51 seconds left, he's going to have to hurry to the garage and try and get another lap in if he can.
Yeah, it's going to have to be blistering. It's a minute 40 is the pole lap, and there's only a minute 40 left to go, so you'd have to really book it even on the out lap just to even have a shot.
Indeed, yeah.
Sven Gielhold here, though. Purple middle sector. Fastest for him. Well, personal best first sector. He's really flying, though, in 11th.
He is really going for it, yeah, in that Mazunda Motorsports car. And he was someone that was really not featured much at all last race. I don't even know if he competed in it. But here he is now, on course, as we can see it, to be fastest in the session. Dennehan's just gone to pole. Only 0.12 of a second between him and Scorron. Wherever he goes, he's surely going to be in the top three if he was purple in the middle sector. And here he goes now. The drag race to the line. He passes the pit entry, the pit wall. And as the grandstand starts, he's getting ever closer. It's up to P5. A bit lower, I think, than we were expecting, but still a very good position. He slots himself in between the two Netrex cars of van der Neijt and Ivanov. And here he is, speaking of van der Neijt, here he is through that lovely, amazing complex of corners. I think this is probably the best complex of corners on the calendar.
Yeah, it's just so... You really feel like you're in an open wheel car as you're going through those corners. The way the car grips up and the downforce builds, and you have the banking, it's fun to drive.
It is, yeah, it's fantastic. Whatever car you're in, it's going to be an absolute blast to drive. The faster, the better. But these cars, it's not quite like the F1 cars. If you go ever so slightly offline, you will suffer massively. And Van der Neijt's purple. He's purple in the middle sector. He's only got one more braking zone, one more corner to do as he navigates the chicane, and the clock hits 0. So the checkered flag is out on this qualifying session. And we're looking at Annie van der Neijt in the Netrex car, looking to keep up Netrex's 100% pole position streak after Carlos Martin put his Netrex on pole at Monza. Where is van der Neijt going to go? Is he going to dislodge Jake Dennehan from pole position? Stays to the right as much as he can. And he does. He goes up to pole position. And he smashes it by 0.2 of a second. That is a blistering lap time from him. Here's Wesley Burko, though. He's purple in both sectors. And he's only got 4 more corners to go. 2 of them are flat, so this is basically make or break for Wes. It's a fantastic start to the lap. That looked all right. Maybe could have opened the steering up slightly more through there. He's got 1 more corner to go. No one else around him is improving. He's currently 4th, already on the 2nd row, and that's a lovely line through there. Maybe a bit wider than he would have wanted, though. The car just understeering out wide. That's going to cost him time. Gillahode goes 3rd. Scoron goes 2nd. Tatui comes out of nowhere and goes 3rd. Where's Wesley Burko? 3rd place. Within a 10th of a second of Danny Van Den Ayer, but he couldn't beat him. And I think that will cap it. Who else on a lap? Kevin Viches is not going to challenge for pole position. I think Kenny Singleton goes 9th in the Excensa. Where is Vickers going to go? He's green. Oh, he's gone massively wide. He's onto the gravel. And that is his lap time well and truly over. Here's Viktor Ivanov. He's only 9th at the moment. Where can he stick that Netrex car? Only 8th for Viktor Ivanov as Martin goes up to 2nd place. But I think that is everybody pretty much done. And it's Danny Van Den Ayer on pole position, unless Samuel Barrett's on an outlap, so this is not going to be challenging anything. So it's Danny Van Den Ayer on pole position for Netrex Grand Prix. That's 2nd consecutive pole. That's a blistering lap time, but it's close. It's only 1/100th of a second in that. What a close qualifying session.
Yeah, it was so many cars within us. You got 4 cars within a second of each other. You know you're on for something special. That's ridiculous. And even then, just the top 10 covered within half a second. That is going to be... Wow, this is a competitive field, man.
Yeah, so it's a Netrex 1-2. They lock out the front row. They not only kept up their streak, they've locked it out. Carlos Martin, only 1/100th of a second off of his teammate in the end. And then on the 2nd row, it's a Vale front row lockout. So look, these 2 have been tipped for title protagonists. People saying it's going to be a straight fight after Santa's slow start. And if qualifying was listening, well, it's delivered. 5th place, Jamie Tatui. He was quickest in practice at Gillett Grand Prix. Maybe a bit disappointed to only end up 5th. Jake Dennehan 6th. He was on pole for most of that session, all the way up until the final runs, and ended up having 5 people beat his lap time. Also, Pashutto 7th for Royal Blue Racing, with Viktor Ivanov, the last Netrex, in 8th. Sven Gillahod is 9th for Mazumda Motorsports, 10th place Ernest Lappins. That's the top 10. The race winner in the sprint race, Ernest Lappins, could only manage 10th. Kenny Singleton goes 11th for Extended. That's their best qualifying of the season. With Casper Nizio 12th for Scuderia Catalana, another one of the rookie teams. Alexis Spirichev, he'll be disappointed to only line up 13th, the champion of Season 1 with his teammate, especially up in 6th. With Indrek Rimitz alongside him on the 7th row of the grid in the number 67 Brem GP car. Massi Riboli for the Reading Game Studios Racing Team, 15th, alongside Juris Slavinic on the 16th row. Jesper Eriksson, 17th. He'll be disappointed to only be 17th for Team Iris. And he's alongside Alex Hallows in the other Ozone car. Grassi, 19th, with Samuel Ballatz in 20th. And then the third batch here, Kevin Viches and Javi Vanaklotcher lock out the 11th row of the grid for Team Falcon. Vanaklotcher got some good points last race, so don't count him out, even though he is starting 22nd. Privateer Albert Blanc, 23rd. Grayson Williams, 24th for Star Racing. 25th is Kamil Jablonski alongside Harry Smith and the other Team Iris car. Disappointing quality for Iris. I think they will certainly be kicking themselves, but only way is forwards for them. Parker Neiboer is 27th in the other Extensa after Pavel failed to qualify. Lucas Zimmerman, 28th for Royal Blue. And the final row of the grid, Ryan Mazum, the 29th, and Jan Vosdiger, the winner last time out, who did not set a lap time. And I think he'll be starting from the pit lane. If he can get into the session, that's probably why he was not there. Yeah, eventful qualifying session, and now the drivers don't have too much time to go and do the lap times. And oh my goodness me, I've just received a notification. I'm a Leicester City supporter, so I'm going to keep this to myself. But my God, I can't believe what's happening in Manchester right now.
I'm telling you, folks, all morning, it's just been football. That's all I've heard about since
I am
Discord.
honestly... I don't know if I can commentate. I'm actually going to lose it. I can't believe what's happening. I'm beyond elated. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to commentate Mugello.
So
Two races coming up, 25-minute feature race, and then a 15-minute sprint race with half the grid reversed. So you do not want to be in the lower clutches of the feature race, because let's say you finish 20th, you're gonna be starting the next race 20th, because the reverse grid, it's not the full grid reversed, it's It's the amount of finishes. So let's say 26 finishes. Let's have an even number. That means that everyone in the top 13 has their grid position reversed. So if you finished 12th, you'll start second. But if you finished 15th, you will start 15th. I hope I've made that clearer. So if you're having a bad race, you want to ideally be around 10th, 11th, 12th, not any lower.
For what it's worth, Jan Woznicka, I don't know. I'm not Polish. I think that's close. He did get in the session. That's just who we're
He
following
did get
right
into
now.
the session, okay, but he wasn't able to start the lap time. It might be. Is this him we're running on board with?
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, he's the sole AFP on track today. AFP third in the Constructors' Championship. Woznicka really showing what he's capable of last race, but he's got it all to do starting from the back.
And this is a big grid. So
It is a big grid, and Mugello is it's a bit of a bottleneck because the start finish straight is so wide. Turn 1 is quite wide as well, but turn 2, the run up to turn 2, it really narrows, and that's a chicane. So I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks go off at turn 2. Probably a lot of cars off into the gravel trap.
Yeah.
And all the way through the lap, there's going to be mistakes being made for people on those tires. It's going to be eventful. It's going to be, I hate to say it, a race of attrition.
Yeah.
And I hope Tom Dillon's not watching because he's going to scold me for saying that, or he's going to know on the James Smith bingo. But yeah, it's going to be. Can you keep your car on the road? Because there's no runoff pretty much on this track. It's just grass and gravel if you go off.
Yeah. If I would say, starting from the pits, if I were Jan, I would not see that as a terrible loss. If you're going to be in the middle of the pack or the back, maybe it's better to have a safe gap between yourself and the chaos that will likely be that first chicane that we're on board with right now. That is going to be with Danny Vandernitz. I think that will be that will be a culling of the herd. Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be imperative to get a good start, though. It's a long run down to the first corner.
It is. And that's another interesting thing to consider is the slipstream. There's enough of a gap between the grid and the first corner that you could definitely pick up a tow, and then of course every lap thereafter.
A lot of drivers opted in the. I was in a discussion with a few drivers, and they were saying, there's only really one big long straight. The slipstream isn't that powerful. Let's put the wing levels up.
Yeah.
Because this track has a lot of fast corners. We're seeing one right now. This is taken in third gear. But that turn 6 to 10 complex, you don't go below. You stay in fifth gear pretty much the whole way. You maybe shift down to fourth for some extra rotation, but you go straight back up to fifth. It's fast. And you need the downforce to turn your car in for it. And if the slipstream isn't that powerful through the straight, then maybe it is worth sticking the wings up. But then, of course, if someone gets very close in the exit of the corner, you're going to be vulnerable coming into turn 1.
It's a difficult fight. It's interesting. I was just commentating on a race at Portland, which doesn't immediately strike you as a similar track, but Portland has a similar feature in that it's mostly medium speed corners followed up with a long straight. And what we were seeing happen to cars is they would get a great run through all the twisty bits behind a car with less downforce, but then they'd stall out the moment they went to pass, and then they'd have
to you pull out of the slipstream, and all of a sudden your speed disappears. Well, it doesn't disappear, but it looks like it does because the car you're trying to pass just rolls away.
So it's a difficult setup game. I'm sure the best teams have figured out a very good balance, but certainly throughout the field, I think that will make for some very interesting racing.
Yeah. 3 minutes left in the warm-up. We're looking at Jamie Tatui, the sole GP car in this race. Jojo at the Timo, and I'm sure will be very pleased to see his car in the top 5. But maybe he'll be a bit disappointed because he was some drivers couldn't believe how fast he was going in practice. Most drivers couldn't believe how fast he was going in practice. So only to go 5th, I'd say that's maybe a little bit underwhelming. It's still a good place to start, don't get me wrong. But maybe there was more on the table. Perhaps we'll see it in the race. But it's going to be difficult to move those Netrex and Valles out of the way. Because they're all in formation. They can stick together. One can attack while one defends their positions. Or if someone is vulnerable, you protect your teammate.
Yeah, a little bit of rear gunner action.
Though I don't think there'd be any reason to have team orders in only the second race of the season.
Well-
Second round, I should say, because we have we have 5 rounds and 10 races because of the feature sprint race format that we are running. First race will be 25 minutes, and just to clarify, when the clock hits 0, it is the last lap. It's not 25 minutes plus 1 lap. It's just 25 minutes, and the lap you're on is the last one. As we see someone go off onto the gravel there.
Ooh, boy. Oh, Jesus.
And rejoining very dangerously, and that's a multi-car pile up there in the warm. But let's hope that doesn't happen in the race.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's Mugello. No runoff. It's difficult to rejoin, and you get it wrong, and look what happens. 3 cars all wiped out. Now everyone behind has to start slowing down, and now off goes the Iris. It's a car park.
That's the other
Sector
thing, is
3.
the closing speed, if you do get caught out, is just monumental.
It is, yeah. All right, the Leicester game's finished, but so I can't get happy over them scoring another goal. But yeah, I'm very pleased with that result. Looking at the Santa car, we've had a front wing here, trying to go past. Oh, he's been hit on the rear there. Who is the suspect? Oh, he's pulling off now. Who is the suspect for that one? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, he just decided to hit the escape key and call it a day.
It's just warm up things.
Just warm up things.
It's nothing else.
Oof.
Oh, I think that's one of the Extensors that's in trouble there. Is it an Extensor? It is an Extensor in trouble.
Oof.
Limping to the pits without a front or rear wing. And now weaving in the pit lane. That's an interesting tactic.
Trying to ward off potential predators, you see. Whoop, and there we go.
We have less than 20 seconds. And actually, that's it. Oh, the warm-up's been restarted, actually.
Okay, well,
Warm-up has been restarted, so maybe a few server issues there. But bear with us. The race will be underway shortly.
as it goes with sim racing, quite often, just like there's mechanical issues in real racing, there are technical issues
I
in sim
think it's
racing.
Ryan Mazumda. Judging by looking in the paddock, I think it's Ryan Mazumda who's having problems.
Mm-hmm. We got him moving there now. Looks okay.
Yeah, Ryan can't get into the game by the looks of it. So that's a problem. He's qualified, I think, he qualified 29th. We know he's quicker than that, but he's only qualified there. But you do have to wait for everybody to be in the server before you can go.
Mm-hmm.
So we anxiously wait for him to join, and then we will be underway for the race.
Yeah, it's hopefully we don't see what we saw in the warm up there, some of those accidents, but it's going to be tough when you're really pushing through those corners, you know, those 4th, 5th gear corners, and if somebody has a moment, there's no runoff, nowhere to escape to.
Especially on the first few laps when everyone's clumped together, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah. It's definitely, as you said, race of attrition. And then, yeah, as I said, I think if you are in the back, it's best to just wait for everyone else to make a mistake, because they will make them.
They will make mistakes indeed, yeah. Looking at the Santon car trundling down the pit lane, hopefully not doing what Lewis Hamilton did earlier today.
Everyone keeps spoiling this race for me, and I have not seen what
No,
happened.
this was before the race. Don't worry, this didn't happen during the race. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, what?
There is car. Oh, I think, there's cars falling out of the sky. There's cars going into the floor. It's just how warm-ups go. And that's the third time the warm-up's been second time warm-up's been restarted now. So I presume Masunda still can't get into the server. Actually, no, Ryan joined, but it looks like Lucas Bivald has disconnected because of that.
That was interesting.
So it seems we can't get everybody in the server.
I wonder if the issue is there's not enough pit boxes for the cars. If I was to hazard a guess, if I was to chuck something into the darkness, okay. Because you can see how they're getting chucked up in the air. That suggests to me there's not enough pit boxes. Maybe I'm wrong. But, yeah, there's a possessed Tatus F3 car there.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, and we are going to the grid then. So this is it. This is SRL round 2. This is Mugello. And the cars are lining up on the grid to start the formation lap. in complete broad daylight in the picturesque valleys of Tuscany, and the formation lap gets underway. Danny van der Neer leaves his grid slot, closely followed by his team. So if we can, let's have another run through this grid, and then we'll see what we can make of it.
There we go.
So here is your grid. Danny van der Neer was on pole position by, well, 100th of a second. It was that close between him and his teammate as Netrex locked out the front row. The two Vales on the second row of the grid. Equally inseparable. There's a problem in the pit lane there. Couldn't really see what was happening. That's probably going to be a pit start for somebody. I don't know what is happening, as a lot of cars have gone back to the grid.
Yeah,
we've restarted. We've restarted the formation lap.
Yeah, they're trying to figure something out.
Someone had a problem. So it's been restarted again, but we can keep going through the grid. Jamie Tatui is P5 for GP alongside Jake Dennehan in the Santon Motorsports car. Watch out for him. He was on pole for most of the qualifying session, only to be pipped by 5 drivers in the last runs. Cosmo Pasciuto 7th, Victor Ivanov 8th, Sven Gellerhod 9th, Ernest Lappins race winner in the sprint race 10th for Ozone. 11th, Kenny Singleton for Excenso, Casper Nitso 12th for Scuderia Castellana. Alexis Spiritua will be disappointed for 13th, but watch out for him to climb some much-needed places after a fuel exhaustion problem whilst running second last time out in Monza. So he'll be looking to make amends for that, so watch out for his pace. 14th, Indrik Remitz for Brem GP. Masi Riboldi 15th, Jurica Slovinac 16th, Jesper Eriksson the first Iris in 17th, Alex Hallows 18th, Stefano Grassi 19th, and Samuel Ballas is 20th. And I think that we've restarted the warm-up yet again.
Yeah, something is up.
Something is definitely wrong. And yeah, we've started the warm-up again.
Curious. Could not begin to tell you.
I'll try and figure out what's
use those detective skills, see if you can piece together the mystery.
I think it's Cosmo Pasciuto who has crashed. And he is P7, so that would be very major if he wasn't able to make the start.
Yeah. He
said he's rejoining.
I do respect the hustle of the organizers to try and make sure this starts with everyone on the grid, though. That is something.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's standard courtesy, I think.
Yeah.
You got to let everyone who earned their right to race, you got to let them race.
Mm-hmm. Even if the game is not necessarily agreeing.
Yes, exactly. R-Factor 2 doesn't like to agree with people, apart from himself.
That is just the way it is.
So we've got a battle here between that's around the outside from the Santon through turn, I think that's turn 10. That is a sensational pass. You should be proud of that one.
Yeah, getting some...
we're coming back at him now. We got a race in the warm-up. And it's side-by-side through turn 11. That is a fantastic bit of side-by-side racing. The Santon still marching ahead. Oh, and we've gone to the race. We have gone back to the race. Ignore the front wings flying around. I still don't get why that's happening. But everyone should make their way to the grid without a problem. And I don't know if we're going to have a formation lap or not because of the problems we had already. I think we still will.
Yeah, it's difficult to throw these cars out with cold brakes without giving them a chance to warm those up, especially.
Definitely, yeah. And with Mugello's first corner, you need that brake temp. You need that. You need the tyre temps as well to get that thing rotated. And we are underway for another attempt at the formation lap. And hopefully this time we won't have to reset it.
I believe. I've got a good feeling about this.
Yeah. So it's going to be a long formation lap. So let's have some race predictions, shall we? So we have 2 Netrexes on the front row, 2 Vales behind, and Jamie Tatui was quickest in practice 5th. We have Spirichev all the way down in 13th. Who do you think is going to come out on top in this one?
I think the big thing will have to be, I don't think there's going to be a lot of room to make passes. So my money would be on Carlos Martin, because I think the slipstream is going to help him get the run on his teammate. And once that job's done, I don't think there will be too many opportunities for his teammate to make trouble of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm incredibly wrong. I haven't had a chance to watch one of these races yet. But if you're going to put me in the spot, that's where I'm at. So how about you? Now you've made me go through that.
Yeah, I know, I've thrown you under the bus, Mike. I think Well, yeah, the turn one is so wide. You could probably go about 8 wide in turn one, 7, 8 wide. It's so unbelievably wide, especially. But look how narrow it is here. You can hardly go too wide through here. But I think the Valors, if they can get a decent launch, maybe slightly better than the Netrexes, they can definitely slipstream them down to turn one. If they're feeling aggressive, they'll go for it. So maybe qualifying on pole is a bit of a hindrance. It's a bit maybe it's going to hinder you. We'll have to see. The Netrexes are certainly going to have to launch off the line well. But yeah, I think we don't need to look any further than our top 4. I don't think Tatui's quite going to have it on these guys. No mandatory pit stop, so it's all going to be on track.
Yeah.
And this here is Damien Scorrowan, I think.
This is Wesley Bocat.
Oh, it's Wesley, sorry.
Yeah,
I can't remember which one qualified in front. This is Wesley Burkout.
Yep.
Valet and Netrex, the two main title protagonists, starting in the top 4 positions. And you need to desperately warm up your tyres now, because it's going to be a long wait. Not only is it a long wait to your grid slot, but these guys are at the front of a 30-car train, so their tyres are going to get very cold by the time that the lights start coming on.
Yeah.
But it should be an entertaining race. Overtaking might be slightly difficult, but anything can happen. These cars are much nimbler than Formula 1 cars, and they could overtake around here. So hopefully we will see a lot of good racing as everybody making their way around the last corner and into their grid slots. Danny Van der Neert stops clean. His teammate stops, and the two Valets follow suit. We are all set for what is, as that's Jan Vojlica leaving his garage to go to the exit of the pits.
See everyone.
This is hope.
Go
I
ahead.
tipped this to be the best race of the season in my column. I still stand by that, so hopefully the gods of predictions won't let me down. Everybody has successfully lined up. Jan Vojlica is at the end of the pit lane. We are ready to go racing here at Mugello for the first race of 2, a 25-minute feature race. The 2 Netrexes on the front row, the 2 Valets right behind. The slipstream's going to be key. Here we go. And we are underway, and it looks like a great start from the 2 Netrexes. The Valet's getting left behind a bit. Martin made the slightly better start over his teammate as they come over the crest. It's still single file between them. It's chaos behind them, and actually, that's one of the Valets having a look on his teammate. That's Wes trying to go down the inside of Scorrowan through there, and the Netrexes are a bit wide, and the Valets might take advantage of it. It looks like everybody is safely through the first corner. Actually, maybe not. There's a yellow flag, and now here's the second chicane of attrition. Let's have a look. Everybody looks pretty clean through the majority of the pack. We're on board with one of the Team Falca cars starting near the back, so it looks like it's been pretty clean through here. And that's his teammate trying to pull a pass on the car ahead. That's one of the Accentors who had a very bad start. That's Kenny Singleton, who's dropped right from 9th down to 16th. He's had a horrible start. And they're side-by-side coming into turn 6. You do not want to go side-by-side here. And somehow they don't make contact. But back at the front, and indeed, Burko was able to get ahead of one of the Netrexes. And it's Van der Neert, who's been shuffled out here and has lost out on that lead. He didn't get a great start. Martin was able to draft him coming into turn 1. He went wide into the first corner, and it's cost him. It's Carlos Martin, who was on pole position, couldn't convert it, a Monza, who leads the way from Wesley Burkout in second place. Donny Van der Neer is in third, and it's Damien Scorrow in fourth. Ernest Lappins, 10th to 5th. 10th to 5th in the Ozone. What a sensational start for him as he's taken Tatui's place in 5th, and we're on board with that Ozone car of Ernest Lappins, and he's got the Valet deep in his sights, and he's closer to him than the Valet is to the car ahead of him. And if he could take a nice tight line here and get an exit, and he's taking a much wider line going for the exit. So, at the end of the first lap, the top 5, Carlos Martin, Wesley Burkout, Danny Van der Neer, Damien Scorrowan, and Ernest Lappins. We're on board with Ernest Lappins here in the Ozone as he tries to get closer to that Valet, but it's just a slipstream train down here. Maybe there'll be a move for third place. Look at this, side by side for third place. Valet trying to make it a double podium. Can he sweep around the outside here, Scorrowan, in this banked first corner? They're still side by side, and now he's got the inside line for the next chicane. And he is later on the brakes, and he takes third place. And Van der Neer might lose out another place here as Lappins sweeps around the outside. Danny Van der Neer, pole man, down to 5th place. What a sensational move from Scorrow. What a move by Lappins. But Van der Neer can't catch a break right now, Christian. Fantastic start.
Yeah, that was very great racing from the Valet cars. Martin, of course, pipping his teammate. And Lappins, of course, getting a great run, just passing cars left and right to get up into 4th. But it just looks like Van der Neer is just struggling to keep up with these guys. I don't know if he didn't do the heavy fuel load runs or if he just got caught out, you never know. Just got shuffled back. Because we got a car in the pits there. Looks like somebody got out
That is
worse for
Slovinac, so
wear.
he's had a problem on the first lap there. I think Alex Hallows and Jake Danahan. Jake Danahan was running 6th, and he is 28th, and I think out of this race.
Yeah,
So
that's our only
something has happened
DNF.
to the Santander and their horrible streak of luck
Somebody's
continues.
off way in that.
Yeah, way off in the background there. That's at turn 12. Someone's gone off, and we'll try and figure out who that was.
I think that was
it's
Jesper.
Ryan Mazumda
Was it Masunda? Because
who's
that's
gone off.
because Ericsson's Jesper. That's a Jesper Ericsson. Sorry, I'm confusing with someone else. No, that's yeah. Hopefully I didn't pick up any damage though.
And down the inside goes the Excensa trying to make a move. That's Parker Nybo trying to get past Jesper Eriksson there. Unsuccessful. And now waiting for the slipstream. But the slipstream more powerful than we probably thought, as Carlos Martins, it's the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 40.854. That's a very fast lap considering it's his first proper lap of the race. And look at the battles we have all across the field. Coming into the first corner, Sigurdsson defending from Vojdiger. Jan Vojdiger's up to 14th place, having started last. A bit of contact. Eriksson's onto the grass and he's off. And he's stalled almost. He spins it back around the gravel. Can he keep the wheels spinning? Yes, he can, and he rejoins, but he is now plumb last. And that looked like he got given a bit of a squeeze there by the Excensa car. And here's side-by-side for the two Team Falcon cars of Vanna Klotcher and Vichers, with Vanna Klotcher having to settle for being behind his teammate. But a lot of racing coming into the first corner. As we were expecting, it's, I think, 1.2 kilometers that straight is.
Yeah, I think we greatly underestimated how well these F3 cars could follow each other through the corners.
Yeah, look at the reading game all over the back at the fastest point of the circuit. An F1 car couldn't do that, so they can really follow these guys here. Vojnica has halved his grid position already. He has actually, I can't see him on the Delta anymore, so maybe he had an issue. Actually, he's down to 20, so I think he's had an off somewhere. This is Kamil Jablonski behind a battle right ahead between Balaz and Grassi. Balaz trying to force his way through, but he's left the door open for Vojnica there. It's all kicking off. The two Team Falcon cars under pressure from the two Reading Game cars. They're all over the place here. It's great racing, and now side by side into the last corner between the two Reading Games. Wide goes Riboli through sweeps his teammate, and now Grassi is going to maybe line up the two Team Falcon cars. He's already lining one of them up. He's side by side on the exit of the corner. This is the strategical play between the Falcons. He's giving his teammate a slipstream so that Grassi can't be alongside. And as they come over the crest, it's anyone's best guess who's going to be late on the brakes. They're 4 wide.
Oh, big contact!
4, doesn't it go into one of the teammates in each other? One of the Falcons spins around. That was never going to pay off. 4 into 1 does not go. And I'm amazed that all 4 of them didn't get taken out there. Vojnica slips through, climbs 4 places. Wow.
Just
And it's still
absolutely
not over.
Yeah. I don't think this will end for the next 20 minutes. This has just been crazy racing.
Absolutely crazy. Just send the car when you want to. I mean, everyone was single file and then they go around the crest and it's 4 wide.
Yeah.
Out of absolutely nothing. And actually, I'm slightly surprised at this now as it cuts to the front. Ernest Lappins qualified only 10th. He is on a mission to prove that that sprint race win was no fluke. I did not expect it to be on pace with the top 3 guys. No offense to him. And it seems that Van der Nijt has got his stride back a little bit. He's pulled away from his teammate Ivanov, so we have all 3 net Rexes in the top 6.
There you go. But
the way sorry, just cut you off there. The way the scoring works is only the best 2 cars from each race get the result. So as it stands, Ivanov's points would count for his own individual championship, but for the constructors, his points would be neglected.
Interesting to know. Yeah, I as we were saying, I think the big thing is I don't think we expected these cars to be able to follow each other so well. The other big thing that I had not expected, as we jump onto just another battle as they're going on everywhere, is this slipstream is almighty powerful. It's keeping these cars very close. And when you consider how incredibly tight the qualifying was...
Look at that. Grassi just pulled out of Vojtika's slipstream, immediately started going slower.
Yeah.
Because Vojtica was in the slipstream ahead and he's going for it. Grassi's going for a move on the championship leader on the inside. Someone's off. That's Jamie Tatui who's gone off. That might hold up Vojtica. They're still side by side on the exit. That's a free position for both of them. Vojtica has the inside for the chicane and he has the corner dictated and holds that place. As Grassi almost spins it there, had to correct that. That's going to lose him time as he runs wide into the gravel and loses a place to Tatui immediately. And to his teammate there, Jablonski.
Yeah, with cars this close, a single mistake is going to lose you positions. This is just, as we saw, like one lockup, that's a position. Touch the grass, that's 2 positions. It's very, it's like painfully tight for these guys.
Yeah, and the punishing nature of Mugello. You make a mistake, you're going to be very badly punished for it. The top 6 is exactly as we left them, but we're watching the battle for 14th and all onto the grass. Who was that going off? That was Samuel Ballas. He somehow only loses 1 place there and keeps it on the road coming into the next corner. That was a great save. That's a hair-raising moment. It's also, again, straight away, another hair-raising moment. This time for Jamie Tatui, who's already been off the track, mind you, on this lap. He's got to gather himself here. He's down in 16th. He's 1 place off the points. And yet, just to clarify, Jake Dennehan did retire, and he's been joined by Slovinac and Ryan Mazumda. So, 3 retired. Someone's on the grass there, coming off the corner. That is, I believe, Alexei Spirichev. As we're looking now, this is Gilahod trying to overtake Rimitz, I think.
I think he's got that.
He's going to get past him on the outside. Can he outbrake him into the first corner? No, they're pretty equal. Can he swing this one around the outside of the bank corner and get the inside for the chicane? Yes, he can. Can he pull clear? Yes. He is cut back across that car. He takes a position. We're seeing, Christian, a lot of cars overtaking around the outside of turn 1. A lot of cars.
Just carrying more speed through that first corner. It makes it the job of defense so difficult because you're like, do I go inside? Or do I go outside? It doesn't seem like there's any way to really defend attacks in that first corner. Certainly no one's figured it out yet that we've seen.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique corner as well because it is banked and it really tightens up on the exit as well. But the inside for that chicane, it seems to be the way to go. No one's gone around the outside of the first part of that chicane. Around the second part, Ernest Lappins did that to Danny van der Neer on lap 2. But the first part, no one's done it yet.
Yeah, it's way more. It's just the whole section is just a giant passing opportunity if you can get it together right. So we see a car off
onto
wide
the
there.
grass goes. That is Samuel Ballas once again for going for an off-track excursion. That's going to present Tatui an opportunity. This is exactly the place where he lost a position to Ballas on the last lap, and he's trying to go around the outside of turn 12. That's a brave one. Going around the outside of the longest corner on the circuit. Can he do it? He's still hanging on in there, and he's got it. What an overtake. What an overtake by Jamie Tatui to take 16th.
That was a very brave move.
It's only for 16th, but straight back balance. He doesn't want to slipstream on the straight. He wants to overtake him now. And he's plopped his car down the inside. And this is going to present a great opportunity for Jablonski and Grassi behind to slipstream these guys down this straight. We might have another 4 wide moment here, lads. This is going to get tight. Here we go. We're 3 wide now as Jablonski pulls out of the slipstream and goes through the middle. And moving around in the background, Grassi's reading game, trying to get a position. We're 2 wide here. And it's going to be Grassi, no, not Grassi, sorry, Jablonski, who picks up 2 places in one go. Tatui and Ballas both lose one to make contact through the first part of the chicane, and Grassi's trying to get involved here as well as they come over the crest. Somehow they're all still on the road, and they're still side by side. I'm about to lose my voice. There's 3 wide. There's 3 wide coming into the chicane, and the GGP car holds on for the position for the time being. So the GGP car's the big winners in that. Grassi climbs a place, and Samuel Ballas is the big loser. And here he is now. He's got a fantastic run coming through.
Some contact there.
He bumps him. He bumps Stefano Grassi through there. But now he's lost all his speed, and he's not going to be able to mount a challenge coming into turn 10.
It's so close everywhere on the track. It's very... You got to be almost strategic about where you position your car coming into that front straight.
You do. I mean, the racing has been epic.
There's just so many opportunities to get around.
So here's Van der Neer now. So this is Danny van der Neer. That's Ernest Lappins right ahead. Now, our Delta tells us that he's 1.7 seconds behind. Oh, sorry, no, this is Victor Ivanov. That made sense. So we got Van der Neer up ahead. Slipstreaming Ernest Lappins coming into the first corner. Does he fancy a lunge on the ozone car? That's the 2 valleys ahead. They're clear of danger. Lappins somewhat defends to the inside.
Big contact.
He's into the back of him. He hits the back of him. Somehow Ernest Lappins stays on the road. That was a very late defense. From the ozone car. He's going back up the inside straight away, and Van der Neer has no answer. Lappins holds the position, I think, quite fairly in the end. I don't know what happened, though. I think, did Lappins move too late?
I think he... Yeah, I was going to say, it almost looked like he went to the inside, realized maybe that wasn't the brightest move, checked the outside, went to come back in. By that point, Van der Neer had already committed, to the inside move. But I think Van der Nate actually gave Lappens that position back. I think he
Yeah, he
realized
might well
maybe
have
that
done
was for
because
the
Lappins came
best.
a long way back into the first chicane. And what this is allowed now is Viktor Ivanov, who we were on board with before these guys went side by side. He's right with them now. So that's going to be a three-horse battle for P4. 2 Netrexes versus an Ozone. I think there's only be one winner. We've just crossed half distance in the feature race of what has been a fantastic feature race. So much going on all across the circuit. We're on board with Jamie Tatui, who had 2 excursions on a previous lap, which dropped him from 7th to 17th, and he's trying to get past his teammate now. And he's clearly the faster driver. But he's, again, another mistake.
Yeah,
Locks his brace and goes wide.
you gotta wonder if he's chalked up the tires at some point, or if he's overheated them and he's just struggling to. Because this is a track with all these high-speed corners where you will burn these tires out very quickly.
Indeed, yep. And I think Riboli's had a problem actually because he's dropped a few positions down to 15th. Here he is on board, so he's managed to recover himself. He's right behind Jan Woznica, and he's going to have a great run coming down this massive, massive straight. This straight takes up so much lap time in these cars. It's unreal. The lead is 28 seconds ahead of these guys. Here's on board. Here we go, though, as they pass underneath the gantry and cross the start-finish line. Riboli closing all the time. Woznica stays to his line, so he's not worried about an attack from Riboli, and he's correct. Well, did Woznica go a bit deep there? Maybe he went a bit deeper. We cut back to the action here. It's 3 wide into the first corner yet again. And yet again, there's contact at 2. He's gone off. He's completely missed his brake, and he's going to hit the wall. And
Just barely keeps it
goes
out.
from bad to worse. He misses his braking point coming into the first corner, and he's dropped down to 20th place and definitely out of contention of points now.
Yep, that's
No
very
chance.
unfortunate. It's just so he tried to go outside to defend there, and there was no grip. Too many marbles on the road now at this point in the race. Nothing that can be done to keep that car on the road.
True. If you go wide at turn 1, there is really no coming back from that. As soon as you miss the braking, it's banked as well, so it's never going to help your cause. Woznica was able to stay in front of Riboli. I thought he missed his braking point, but no, he managed to hold it together. That's a very good drive from him. 30th to 14th.
Yeah, great
from
recovery
the championship
thus far.
lead, as we have 10 minutes remaining in this feature race at Mugello in Tuscany, in this picturesque circuit. And it's Carlos Martin with a 5-second lead over Wesley Burkow. And here we might have a small battle. The 2 bright yellow machines, I'm not going to call them bananas because they got a bit of black on them. I'm not going to call them bananas. Well, I wouldn't call them rotten bananas because that's just plain rude. But, here's Damien Scorer closing in on Wesley Burkow into the first corner. Not close enough for a move. And these guys, they're in an amazing position. They have a gap behind. So it's kind of juxtapositioned here. They have a gap behind, but but they don't want to throw these points away. They could go for a battle, but as we've seen already, the 2 Falcon cars hit each other, the 2 Reading games hit each other. Teammates have hit each other this race before, and they don't want to become members of that list. And here's another battle. Stefano Grassi and Samuel Balats trying to go around the outside. He's missed his braking and off. He's the next one into the gravel. He's done exactly what Jamie Tatui did on the last lap, but he's hit the wall harder. And that's his race destroyed in the same way that the Gillette GP cars was, just missing its braking, trying to go too deep around the outside, getting caught out. And here's Albert Blanc in 11th place, trying to get ahead of the Brem GP of Hendrik Riemts. This is for 10th place. And as it would stand, this is for, we have 26 cars of the race as Jesper Eriksson has DNF'd. So this is the battle for 4th place in the sprint race on the grid as well.
I'm wondering if Eriksson and Wozniak hit each other, because I saw Wozniak drive into the pits, and then he decided to call it quits probably when he saw how long the damage would take, so he probably missed something further back involving those
Oh, yeah,
two.
he has DNF'd, yeah. So Woznica has... So he's out of this race. So he's starting 26th next time out. So that's 25 runners now. So I don't know how it rounds, how the grid rounds up. Or 24 even to 2. He's retired now. So that means Kenny Singleton is on pole for the next race as it stands. But we still got 8 minutes to go in this one. And a fantastic run for Albert Blanc coming out of the last corner. Here we go down the straight. This is the problem. He's caught him too early. Now he has to just kind of bump draft him down the straight. But as soon as he pulls out, he's not going to have too much speed. He goes to the inside. He finds the inside line, does Albert Blanc. He's earlier on the brakes, though, and cutting across him, Hendrik Riemts, and he holds the position for the time being. He's slower on the exit, but you can't overtake. You can't lunge into that into the second corner there. It's so difficult to do that. And here's Samuel Ballas in the wars again. This is actually for points position. So I said that he had no chance of points. I'm wrong. Oh, that's a lockup. That's a lockup there from Jablonski. That's going to cost Ballas dear. And through goes Casper Nizio into 16th place. It's just unfortunate for Ballas in the end.
Yeah, it's just as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of strategy in how you actually that slipstream is so long. You have to time your pop out correctly, and especially a lot of these guys, as you were saying earlier in the warm up, they've thrown a lot of downforce on these cars because a lot of the track is high speed and medium speed corners. But then you've got to use the slipstream really strategically because the moment you pop out, you're going to stall, and then you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble, yeah. Just another worthy mention. We mentioned that Victor Ivanov had closed on his team. He's actually overtaken him now. He's taken 5th place, and he's right on the back of Ernest Lappin, so his teammate not far behind. And I think finally this is going to be it. I think this is now Ernest's time is done. He's weaving about all over the place. That's 2 movements or 3 movements down the straight already. I think he's going to get in a bit of trouble for this now. He's weaving a little bit too much. But Ivanov doesn't seem to mind too much because he's closing all the time. Closing, and they almost hit each other. Coming over the crest. Ivanov goes to the outside line and squeezes him, and they hit each other as they break for the corner. Ivanov goes for the switchback. He goes for
contact
the
again.
again.
Oh,
no! Into the air goes the NetRex car. Victor Ivanov is sent into the air, into the gravel trap, and he hits the barriers. Can he keep the wheels spinning? Yes, he's able to reverse that car, but any chance of good points is down the drain for Victor Ivanov. I fear that Ernest Lapp is going to get a huge penalty for that because, wow, Ivanov, he was right on the edge of the track already. Plus, Lappins was moving all over the straight. They hit each other. He closed on him in the first corner as well. He closed on him. They made contact there, just not as severe. And I think that's going to be a big penalty coming the Ozone driver's way.
Yeah, I think maybe the weaving on the straight maybe could have gotten away with it because it wasn't in a braking zone. But once you get that elbows out in the defense, in the paint, that was, there's no 2 ways around that.
But the way that this championship scoring works is that actually NetRex and the constructors have not been affected by that one bit because, of course, only the 2 best results get counted towards your constructors' tally. The individual ones all count for themselves, but only 2 for the constructors. So Ivanov was running 5th, so Van der Neer instead now occupies 5th place, and he is likewise, as on the last lap for Ivanov, quite close to Ernest Lappins, but he's had a very bad run through that. Actually, no, he's got a decent bit of speed, and Lappins, here we go again. He's weaving about already. Switching left to right, trying to break that toe. Van der Neer gradually closing in. He's reading his every move here. Here we go into the first corner. He's not quite as close as his teammate was. Lappins so defensively inside. There is no room for him to go.
Contact. He just took him out.
Oh, and Lappins, there he goes. He's almost gone off the road, and through goes Van der Neer, and I think he's going to have to let him through once again. So it's a carbon copy of what happened earlier in the race. And is that him saying, that's what you get for taking my teammate out?
Yeah, it's cold. Even if it doesn't really hurt the team much, for the actual driver, that's cold comfort hearing, oh, the team still has points. It's like, well, my race was ruined. So, You know what? That's some teammate looking out for each other there. I guess that's the danger of running against a flight of 2 cars.
Yeah, maybe Van der Neer was expecting, Ernest to go slightly to the left because you don't want to be so... If he'd gone to the outside, he'd been on the ideal line, whereas Ernest would have been on the tightest line possible. He would have swept through. And here, back to the battle for 8th, and we have Kenny Singleton in the Excensa. He didn't qualify for the race in Monza. He missed out by a measly 300ths of a second, but here he is. Started 9th, bad start, but he's up to 11th now, and he's overseeing this battle that's now become 9th after Victor Ivanov's incident. And I think Ivanov, he's gone into pit road. He's pitted, and he is well out of the points now. He might even retire that car. It's a big shame for him. Great recovery drive.
Yeah, it was a good run. Unfortunate end.
Indeed, we have 3 minutes to go in this race. Carlos Martin is just extending his lead over Wesley Burko in the Violet. But as it stands, it would be still a very good result for Violet. Skorowan is 3rd on the road. Here now is the battle for 6th place. Prosciutto. Sorry, this is battle for 7th place. It's Spirichev versus Gelihud, and I don't think he's going to be quite close enough for the move. He's 7/10 back coming into the first corner, so he's not going to be able to pressurize him close enough.
It's a bit like DRS almost in a sense.
Oh, here we go. Speaking of DRS in a sense, here we go. That's blocked, pulling to the outside, and again, Ribs cuts him off.
He just
This
needs to be
time
a bit braver on the
opposing
brakes.
lines, and they hit each other again, coming into the braking zone. These guys are really not comfortable with being so close in the chicanes because they keep on banging wheels there, and they get away with it this time.
Yeah,
Blanc is running out of time.
He's just got to be braver in that braking zone. He's just got to be a little bit later on the brakes. I think he's just getting off too early.
Yeah, no chance of overtaking through here though. We did see Singleton behind in one of the Falcon cars, and Van Klotcher go side by side there on lap 1, and they made it through somehow. But I wouldn't recommend a driver voluntarily going for a move there. Save it for the main straight, I'd say. But there's not been too many overtakes apart from turn 1, to be honest. But where there have been overtakes, there's been plenty.
Yeah, it's the slipstream, very powerful, especially with these cars running high downforce setups. A lot of them. It's
yeah, exactly. That's going to just exemplify them. And here we go, the battle for second place. And again, I think Skorowin is just too far back from his teammate. That is not Carlos Martin, who was in the foreground of the shot there. This is not Carlos Martin coming with the crest. That's someone else. He's a lapped car. The two yellow cars, they are second and third in this race. And yet Skorowin didn't want to close on his teammate there. 7/10 behind coming into the first corner. And these guys are on their final lap. We have started the final lap of this race for the leaders. Carlos Martin is 50 seconds away from that clock hitting 0 and him being on his final lap.
Blanc got through.
And again, this is Blanc's last chance. This is his last chance of getting anything.
He got through there.
Rips through turn 1, and again, he's too far back.
No, he's through.
He can't. Oh, he's through? Sorry, yes, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I saw it the wrong way around. My bad. I didn't hear you telling me that, but yeah. Oh, but he's made a big mistake on the exit of the corner, and Rips sweeps back through. So many laps of frustration and being stuck behind him. Now, it's all been for, what, 3 corners of being in front?
Unfortunate turn of events there for him.
Here we are looking, though, at Carlos Martin, who has 4 corners to go at Mugello. He took the lead on the first lap from his teammate. He benefited from a better start and a better run through the first corners, and he's never looked back. You cannot even see the yellow Valles behind. He has pulled an extensive lead. The clock has hit 0. He's got 1 corner to go here. He took pole position at Monza, but couldn't convert either races into victories. But he's going to do it here today as he rounds turn 15 for the final time. And coming up to the line, Carlos Martin takes his first victory of the season. The NetRex car victorious at the feature race in Mugello. He wins by a convincing margin over these two guys. Wesley Burko, he'll be very pleased with second place. And Damian Skorowin comes home third. Fantastic result for them. It'll be Danny van der Neer who will come home in 4th place, but that might be up for debate. Him and Lapins are probably going to be investigated for infringements of the rules. Prosciutto 6th, Spirichev comes home 7th, and side by side over the line, and Ribs gets it by 5 thousandths of a second.
That was close.
Talk about close.
I was like, I should.
Albert Blanc is going to be absolutely fuming because he's been. How close was that? 5 thousandths of a second, or 9th place there. And the final point is going to go to Nuzizio, who takes 15th place. And that caps off a very entertaining and eventful feature race at Mugello. And I think I was right in predicting that this is going to be the best race of the season. What a race!
Yeah. That was very, very exciting, very crazy. Lots of drama, especially around the 4th and 5th sort of battles. Man, no space between these guys. The qualifying promised that, and the race delivered on that.
Yeah, and we had 24 finishes in the end, so it's Carlos Martin who takes NetRex's first win of the season after 2 pole positions. It had been coming, and here it is. A double podium for Vale, though. Wesley Burkow 2nd, Damian Skorowin 3rd. Fantastic result for Massimiliano Riboli's cars. Danny van der Neer came home 4th. Ernest Lapins is 5th, but those two, they're going to be having a trip to the Stewarts for sure, especially Lapins, after he took out Victor Ivanov from 5th place. Cosmo Prosciutto, he was quiet the whole race, didn't really get involved in anything, and he came home 6th place for Royal Blue Racing. Alexei Spirichev 7th for Santon. the only Santa to finish the race after Jake Dennehan. Just looking now, I can see it in the paddock. He was taken out into the first corner early on in the race, and he DNF'd. Sven Gillerhold, 8th for Mazunda Motorsports. Indrik Rimt beating Albert Blanc by 5 thousandths of a second to take 9th. As close as you want to get. Kenny Singleton, 11th place for Exenza, and 12th place for Happy Van Klotcher. That is reverse grid pole for the Team Falcon car. So he starts first. Kenny Singleton will be alongside him on the front row. Stefano Grassi, 13th for Reading Game, 14th for Kamil Jablonski, who was really involved in a lot of battling. He probably had the most fun of anybody out there today. Casper Nizio, 15th for Castellana, the last point scorer. Samuel Balats, another one to have an incident-packed race, somehow came home 16th. Lucas Zimmerman, 17th. Parker Nybo, 18th. Grayson Williams, 19th. Victor Ivanov, what could have been? He was on course to pass Lappins and take 4th, but instead he wounds up 20th. Massi Riboli, 21st. Alex Hallows, 22nd. Actually, he's 24th there, so I think we have a slight problem with the overlay. 22nd, 23rd have not been accounted for. And the DNFs, Jamie Tatui, Jan Vostka, Jesper Eriksson, Reimers under Jake Dennehan, Eureka Slovinac, all not finding the flag. A lot of big names in that, including the former championship leader.
For what it's worth, the 2 cars that skipped were Harry Smith and Kevin Wykers. I don't know why it skipped those 2. Just decided wasn't a fan. Can't tell you why. I think they're fine people. Overlay disagrees. So now the track's all nice and rubbered in.
Yep, so yeah, and we have another bit of session to warm up for, and then a 15-minute sprint race. The top 12 will be reversed, so it'll be Happy Van Klotcher on pole position for Team Falcon. You do not, and so we're going to have the slower cars nearer the front, the faster cars near the rear. It should be entertainment of the finest quality. If the feature race provided that, the sprint race could be anything. It could literally be anything.
Yeah, it's going to be all that much more on the line, all that much more. We usually just got to go for it every single time, especially in that first corner. I'm wondering if some people have thought, though, have looked back on some of the battles they had and said, okay, now I realize I need to surrender a bit of my run out of the last corner so I can use the slipstream logger, or they've come to the conclusion that, oh, maybe I have to pass on the outside or defend on the outside. It'll be interesting to see how people, especially those people who've been in the weeds, think about fighting on this track a bit differently.
Indeed, yeah. And I mean, Jan Voslicka won the feature race last time out. He could only manage 8th in the sprint race, and that's at Monza. So might be a bit difficult for them to move up. We don't know.
Yeah.
But they are the ones with all the momentum, though. Carlos Martin in particular has all the momentum. Here he is. Absolutely. I don't think I've seen many dominant drives as dominant as that.
Yeah, that was a very just... Got past his teammate and then pieced out down the road. That's what you really want to do, though, with the pole. You didn't have pole, but that is something you want to do off the front grid, front 2 spots on the grid. It's just take advantage of that clear air and don't look back.
Yeah, exactly. And he makes amends for that unconverted pole from last race. We can say, sure, you got pole position this race. Well, we'll give it to you. You got pole to win. Lights the flag victory. I think he had the fastest lap. He's had the fastest lap on the opening lap, I think it was. Remarkably, he won 40.8. I didn't see anyone go faster than that.
I think
so
you
it's,
are correct.
It's a grand slam.
Yeah, the big thing is tire wear here is probably so aggressive that it's hard to set a fast lap after you've taken the life out of the tires and they've started heating up and getting uncomfortable. So
yeah,
there you go. Now, the big thing I'm also interested in seeing this time around will be how people are going to handle the quicker pace of the race. There's going to be less time to set things up. And I'm wondering how that will affect the decisions people make. Because you saw, especially Blanc for quite a few laps, said, not this time. Or he would play it safe. I'm wondering if that will cause a little bit more drama with people just saying, you know what? Not enough time. I'm going for it this time. And if we'll see some people doing things maybe they shouldn't.
Fun fact, I commentated that entire race without having a sip of water.
That, dedication to the cause. Dedication to the cause.
And I'm going to be doing the sprint race without a sip of water either. So if my throat suddenly dies, you know why. And actually, all right, here we go. Right on cue. The warm-up is done. The sprint race, 15 minutes, is lined up in front of us. If you've just joined us, thanks for tuning in. You've missed the feature race, but you're in time for our second race of the day, the sprint race. The top 12 has been reversed. So it's Javi Van Acoccia on pole position. And we'll run through the grid once they're on the formation lap. If you are new, maybe for you to join our Discord, follow us on Twitter as well at SRL Racing League. We race every Sunday. This is our main series right now. The Italian Formula 3, this is round 2 at Mugello, and the sprint race formation lap gets underway. So we can have a little look through the grid now, I think. So it's Javi Van Acoccia on pole position for Team Falcon. Kenny Singleton alongside him in my car. So I might be slightly biased, but I'll try not to be. Albert Blanc, after missing out on 9th position by 5,000. I still can't get over how close that was. It was all nice procession. Then we cut to the last 1 second of those guys' battle, and we see it's a photo finish.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
what more can you ask for?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Rimps is 4th, Gillahode 5th, Spirichev 6th, Prosciutto is lines up 7th, Lapins 8th, Van den Eyck 9th, Scorer 10th, Burkhardt 11th, Carlos Martin, the race winner of the feature race, 12th. It's Stefano Grassi 13th, Jablonski 14th, Itzio 15th, Balaz 16th, Zimmerman 17th, Nyboa 18th, Williams 19th, Ivanov 20th, and I just need to wait for the overlay to carry out. There we go. Ribali 21st, Harry Smith 22nd, Kevin Fitchers 23rd, Hallows 24th, Tatui showed flashes of brilliance last race, but he's having to do it all from the back now in 25th, Ericsson 26th, and Denahan 27th. So we have lost 3 drivers. One of them is Jan Woznica. Jan Woznica is not starting the sprint race.
That is unfortunate.
Or he might be, but he might be from the pit lane because we can't see him on the overlay. Neither is... who else is taking the start? I'll have to rack my memory for that one.
Yep, nope. He's not in that flight of cars. You are correct. I don't know. Hopefully he gets in before.
We got 4 corners on the formation lap to go for leaders. And speaking of leaders, who is going to be leading by the time that clock hits 0, do you think?
Oh, geez. Well, I was right the first time, so I don't want to ruin my 100% prediction.
Yeah, you were actually correct.
I am going to say my money would have to... I don't know. This is tough. I think that passing is easy enough that I think you could see Van der Neet get through this. I think he could pull it off.
I'm going to have a shot in the dark here. I'm going to say Blanc is going to win it.
That would be impressive.
I would love to say with confidence that Singleton's going to win it, but I think Blanc, he was clearly being held up last race. Very clearly he was being held up. So I think he definitely has more pace on the table. If he can get a good start, get into the lead, he might be in with a shot out. Spirichev as well, he's quick. He's very quick in that Santon. So watch out for him too. And as you said, Van den Eyck and everyone just lining up now. At the back, the guys in the pit lane will be lined up too. Everybody, I think, is now in their grid slots, and we have 5 seconds to go before lights out. Here we go. The feature race is brilliant. The sprint race will hopefully be the same. It's lights out, and away we go. And it looks like a good start from Singleton in second place, and a good start from Blanc as well. Van Acoccia slightly bogged down, and as they come over the crest, Van Acoccia still leads. He's got Singleton alongside, and look at that. That's Albert Blanc trying to make a move down the inside of both of them. Van Acoccia leads to the first corner. Singleton goes wide, almost, but he does put a wheel on the grass. He's off into the gravel, and there goes his chances of getting a result. Van Acoccia holds the lead around the outside, trying to go through that. That's Rips. And it's chaos behind. It's absolute chaos. Many cars involved. That's Tatui involved there. One of the extensors has no front wing, and there's cars off on the right as well. A huge melee at turn 2. That's one of the valets caught out. That is... I can't quite see what that is. I think it's Burko caught out there. No, it wasn't a valet, actually. It was a different car. It looked like a yellow car there. So Riboli can breathe a sigh of relief. But drama at turn 2. And we were saying it in the warm-up for the feature race that turn 2 was going to be the hectic zone. And it's delivered.
Yep, it just closes down on everyone so quickly. You go from being able to go 8 cars wide to 2 on a good day, and you want to make some hay, and there's no space for it.
And it's called chaos, yeah. And round the outside there, that is Spirichev being trying to put pressure on Rims, who's held on round the outside. But Vanaklotcher in the Falcon car holds the lead for the time being. Spirichev has moved to the inside, so he clearly thinks that taking on the inside line here is better than waiting for the slipstream, and it's worked. He's taken 4th place. And he's actually, this is quite clever now, because he's got a slipstream now. But he's not going into it. Why is Spirichev not taking the slipstream? Interesting thing for him to do, because now he hasn't got the benefit of it while his rival has. And there's a move for the lead. Oh, there's a move for the lead, and it's 3 wide coming into the first corner, like on the first lap. We've got a great view of it here. Vanaklotcher in the middle loses out. Blog tries to go around the outside, but through on the inside is going to go Gillerhode. Can he hold on around the outside? Yes, now he has the inside, and he takes the lead.
Close racing at the front there between those guys. Very respectful.
And look how
of each
close it is behind. Just a massive train of cars. We're going to move into the chicane being made by Lapins, which doesn't materialise. And he stays 5th. What a move from Gillerhode there to go right the way past. From a good slipstream, he was able to make the move and hold off Blanc, who I tipped for the win. He's got some work to do again. He's going to be stuck behind another car. Lapin's already back up into the top 5. Van Dinea is nowhere. He's 11th. He's absolutely nowhere compared to these guys.
Well, can't be right twice in a row, it seems. Just gotta...
Yeah. It's more difficult than it at first, yeah. More entry to Jake Denahan, who's gone from the back of the grid to 16th as well. Who else has climbed a little place? Jesper Eriksson has gone from the back of the grid to 12th.
That's impressive.
That's a sensational start from him. Is it pronounced Jesper or Jesper?
We've been saying Jesper in Visk, but I don't know if that's right.
All right, well, I'll say Jesper. Then we have a yellow flag in Sector 1, but we're looking right now at the Falcon car that lost the lead on the last lap. Currently sits 3rd, trying to get the slipstream off Albert Blanc, who's not got one ahead. It's 1 second. It's too far. And look at the amount of cars in the shot there. The fastest lap of the race is set by Sven Gillerhode in the lead, a 141.0, which isn't too far off what Martin did on the last race. Someone's exiting pit road, and we're 3 wide here, the Valles, and that's Spirichev. Side by side coming into the first corner. Spirichev trying to get Burko to run wide, but he's not been able to do it. Now Burko has the inside line, but Spirichev holds on. He holds on around the outside, and the Santin stays in 6th, but goes off, goes into the gravel. That's going to leave him vulnerable, and Lapins has been slow. Lapins has been very slow. He somehow holds 5th. Burko sweeps around the outside to take 6th. Spirichev down to 7th and under pressure from Damian Skorowan. It's all kicking off in Mugello.
I would have thought we were watching a NASCAR race the way this is going.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. It's basically pack racing at this point.
It is so close. It is so close between these guys.
Especially when we have all these fast guys in the back. Not really in the back, but in the middle of the pack at least. And the people in front of them aren't necessarily slow, but it just does condense the whole group together.
Yeah, and Carlos Martin, who won the last race, is behind these guys. The Valet and Spirichev. He's right behind them. There he is. You could see him. He needs to get a move on. I think he's taken the championship lead with that future race win, but he needs to get a move on if he wants to preserve it, because the guys ahead of him are going to get a jump, particularly Burko, who is 3 places ahead of him, and has got Lapins only 3/10 ahead, so that's going to be a pretty simple move into the first corner, I think, provided Lapins doesn't move under braking again. We're on board here with the Netrex Grand Prix car, the established outfit, competes in FSR as well, of course, as Sven Gillerhode goes even faster, 140.398. He's 2 seconds clear of Blanc. He looks set to win. Here's Burko. Sorry, not Burko. That is Skorowan making a move on Spirichev, as Burko's also making a move ahead, and we're on board here with Carlos Martin, and just hanging around the outside Skorowan there. Can he get this moved on the inside? No, he backs out of it, but now he's vulnerable to Martin, who's going to get a good run through here. Fantastic run from the Netrex car. The Valles defense of the Netrex moves to the outside. It's going to be very hard to pass it. He's squeezed out just coming into the corner, closing the door aggressively. Skorowan there, and he maintains 8th place. With only 9 minutes left. There can't be too much more of that for these guys, because they're not going to be able to get to the front.
Yep, someone's just gonna. Whoa, geez, someone's on the
Someone's gone off.
grass.
Someone's gone off. That's the excuse the voice crack. That's the first one today. I'm very impressed with myself. That's the first one. I think that was Burko who went off,
Yep.
and he's under massive pressure. It was Burko, and here's Spirichev going down the inside in towards turn 10, and he can't do it. Burko holds the place.
It's just not a spot where you can pass usually, even if someone does make a mistake in front of you, so long as it's not massive.
Indeed, but he's going for it again. And Burke once again closing that door. He holds the place. And this is just allowing Skorowan and Martin just close in. Close. And Pashutto isn't far behind. Neither is Van der Neer, neither is Ericsson. So there's a big train of cars here. These guys have to watch themselves behind. And look how close the Netrex is. This has the potential to be 4 wide.
Yeah, this is just going to be a slipstream battle now all the way to the first corner.
Yeah, and Burkhardt hasn't got as much of a slipstream as the 3 guys directly behind him. And as they come over the crest, he's gone defensive to the inside line. There's a battle up ahead. That's Lapin's making a move. Spirichev has been forced to the outside line. Can he hold on around the outside? No, Burkhardt is ahead. No, Spirichev's there. I couldn't quite see it, but Burkhardt holds on once again around the outside.
That's the play. Oh, jeez, he's
off,
off, though.
He's gone off and he gets hit. He got hit by Spirichev there. He seems to still be on the road and he's under pressure from his teammate. And I think he's going to let his teammate through here just for simplicity's sake. And he does. Skorowan goes through on Burkhardt. A small error on the exit of turn 3 and he's lost 2 places as a result.
That's what I was saying in the first race. You lock up, that's a spot. You run a little bit wide, that's a position.
That's 2 spots, yeah.
When it's especially
he's
when
under
it's
pressure now. And here's the Netrex right behind now. The last car you would want behind you is Carlos Martin. Especially without a slipstream from your teammate right up ahead. And he might fancy getting this one done a bit early here before that Burkhardt can close to the other guys. But already they've gone a bit slower through there. So he's within 0.8 of a second. I'd say that's decent slipstream. That'll gain you a few tenths at the very least. We've got a yellow in sector 3. And that's Jesper Eriksson. Eriksson's had an off somewhere.
Oh, he's lost the wing.
And there it is. He's crashed on the entry to turn 12, no front wing, and he's stopped and he has retired. So a double DNF for Jesper Eriksson. Team Iris's day, he goes from bad to worse. A shame for them after a decent round in Monza. And that is slow on the exit. I think that was tactical. From Violet.
Maybe it's
but it's presented Carlos Martin with an opportunity. But look at this, Martin's going to get hung out to dry here because he's got no slipstream as soon as he pulls out. But Burkhardt does. Sorry, Skorowan does. And they're going to be side by side, the 2 Violets. They're trying to hold off Carlos Martin, but they're just costing themselves time. And through goes Skorowan again.